Here is Nell. He's going to try the drop kick. It is on the way, and this one is good. That is the first drop kick I have seen in Arena Bowl.
There hasn't been one, I think, in 11 years in all arena leagues.
Okay, so our guest for today is Henry Nell. He's from South Africa, but he finds himself in Canada right now. So, Henry, good to have you with us. And I'm going to ask Henry to share a little bit of his story. I met him a while back through a mutual friend. So Henry, let's kick off with kind of life in South Africa growing up, playing rugby. Tell us a little bit more about that, just kind of growing up and rugby and how you got into kicking specifically.
All right. So, Steve, thanks for having me. It's always nice sharing the story. I think a lot of guys can kind of relate. And if not, hopefully it's a little bit of an inspiration to some. So me growing up in South Africa, never left the country. That was home to me. I started playing rugby at a young age. I think at 6 years old. It's like when you go to the States and you play flag football, I kind of did the same thing, just rugby. I always had that dream of representing my country one day, making a living out of this game. But my passion for kicking started when I was 5 years old. And as I grew older, my love for kicking just developed so much more. So, played high school. I moved on to play club rugby. After club rugby, I played one professional season. And then that's where this whole journey took a 180-degree turn, and I started looking into the football direction.
So tell us a little bit about how did kicking and American football even, pop up in your mind? Because it's something we don't really know in South Africa. We see it in the movies growing up, and but we don't really know much about the game.
Right.
So how did that happen?
We played this one rugby tournament, and this was my final tournament in school. If the kind of deal was like, if you represent your province or your state, and you become the best player in your position, because there was like 5 or 6 other teams as well, you have a 95% chance of getting a scholarship. And that was my final shot of knowing that if I can get a scholarship and go further my rugby career, this would be amazing. So I gave it my all and tried my best to make this team. And unfortunately, it didn't play out in my favor. So I was really frustrated and really upset. I didn't really knew what to do further. I was like standing in front of a brick wall with no options in front of me. This was my final shot. Yeah. So I went back home. I remember it was in September 2016. I went back home and frustrated with everything in the whole world. I blamed everybody except myself. And I laid down on my bed and I went to sleep. And in my dream, and I didn't dream in that particular time as much, but all of a sudden this one dream became as clear as daylight. So I lay down on my bed, and this is how it starts. I'm getting goosebumps already. It's like yesterday. I could remember it as clear as yesterday. And in my dream, I was sitting around the table, me and my family. I signed some sort of paper. Flash forward, I was on an airplane. I landed in the States. I got off the airplane, went straight to a football field. I had helmets on, I had pads on. I was lining up a kick, 44 left hash. I had a whole line that protected me. I had a snapper, I had a holder. My technique looked different. It was a snap, hold, kick, went straight through the middle. The coach gave me a high five and I woke up. That is literally the dream.
Yeah.
And that Monday morning, I remember I still had to go back to school. It was like our final semester. And so I did some research. I was in math class. I did my work. All the kids, please do your work before you move on researching on your phone, whatever. But I did my work. I finished up. I was in the back of the class. And underneath the table, I did some research on my phone. I typed in Google, who is this guy kicking with helmets and pads? First thing that popped up, Wikipedia. It's a place kicker. He plays American football. He runs onto the field. He kicks the ball through the uprights and he runs off the field. And that is his job. And I was like amazed. I'm like, wow, Imagine if I could do this for a living. And
so the things in the dream at that point didn't mean anything to you. It's like everything, it's like, what is this?
It was new information, I've never seen it before, but exactly what I dreamed, I found it on YouTube. Once I started looking at videos and I started realizing what hashes were, you had a snap, you had a hold, it all became, the puzzle pieces finally matched one another. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I kind of called up my kicking coach. And at this point, I was searching for a sign. I'm big in my religion as well. And I was praying to God. I was like, I just need a sign. Was this you that put this dream in my mind? Because I've never even watched this game before. Is this your purpose for me in life? Like, what is this? So I called up one of my coaches. So I prayed. I asked, can you please give me a sign? I said, amen. I called my coach. I was like, coach, I had this weird dream. I need you to tell me, do you think this is possible? Or do you think I'm wasting my time? And he's a very good kicking coach, Vian van der Riet, Rocket Foot Kicking Academy in South Africa. And he told me, like, Henry, if you didn't call me today, I would have asked you at practice tomorrow if you wanted to pursue football. And that was my sign. I looked up, I was like, if this is it, then I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
I've never looked back. In 2018, I decided to take a leap of faith. It was in January. And I was like, I'm going to go to the States and I'm going to try my best to make this dream a reality.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody in the States except for one kicking coach. He lives down in Jacksonville, Florida. He was a former NFL player. He's kind of my kicking coach mentor as well. So I have one in South Africa and one in the States. And he kind of told me, like, if you want to come to the States, you can stay with me and we'll practice and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah.
So I literally took my savings that I've saved basically my whole life. I used that on a plane ticket. I told my family, like, I love you guys, but I'll see you whenever I see you again.
Yeah.
I stepped foot on that airplane and I never looked back. Came to the States, didn't have friends, didn't have family, didn't know nobody. English was my second language, so it was hard to adapt as well. So it was really a major shock in the difference in cultures that I was used to, how I grew up. All of a sudden you're in a whole different country, speaking a different language, having $400 in your back pocket.
Yeah.
That was my scenario in 2018. And that $400 had to get me through 6 months. So you can imagine how tough it was that first year. So skip a little bit forward. So I practiced for two months. I got an opportunity with a team. It's an arena football team. It's the Albany Empire. Kicked really well. And his response to me was like, son, you're good, but we need somebody with at least 6 or 7 years experience. Back to square one. Like, I have the talent, I have the skills, I don't have the experience.
Yeah.
And it's hard for a team to pick up somebody like that in the professional industry. So it didn't stop me. I kept my head down, I kept grinding, do what I had to do to get day by day. And because I had that one opportunity, another team picked that up and they brought me into a camp where I kind of competed and I was like the only kicker. And I thought like, oh, this is going to be my opportunity to play for them. It was a team in Jacksonville called the Jacksonville Sharks. And a week before the first game, I thought like, I'm going to be their guy. They brought back their previous kicker they had. And once again, back to square one. I was like, I don't have the experience and nobody's going to really take me to be their starting guy.
Yeah.
So I was in that point of being like, you know what, I'm running out of money. I've been here for 3-4 months. I'm not getting anywhere. Like maybe I should just quit on this dream and let's say go back home and play rugby again. That was the thoughts I was going through my mind. I was doubting this thing. And the issue, and it took me 3 years to realize that, is like, in that point of time, I was relying so much on myself rather than giving this problem to the higher power. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, I wanted to do everything myself. And it brought me back after a week or two, not finding a new team, all that stuff. it brought me back to humble beginnings, went down to my knees. I'm like, I don't know what to do no more. Please help me, Lord. And it wasn't 4 days later, I got a call up from a team in Maine, same league. And they were like, yo, we saw you with the Jacksonville Sharks. We need a kicker. We want to sign you. We want you to play this Saturday. This is another prayer answered, like it's blessings on blessings. So I flew up to Maine, Portland, Maine. The team was the Maine Mammoths. They played in the National Arena League. It was their first season as well, brand new coaches, staff, everything. So this was a perfect opportunity. So I landed on the Monday. Tuesday, I fitted on pads and helmets for the first time. I practiced for 3 days. And then Saturday was the first game I've ever played. It was in June of 2018. And I remember I was so nervous, the butterflies in my stomach, they went crazy.
280 yards per game for the Pirates, and kicking off from right to left, the Mammoths, Henry Nell, as he shoots it towards the uprights, and it's a deuce. That's 2 points for Maine. Wilson's one of the better receivers in the league. Henry Nell to attempt the extra point from right to left, and he hits it.
24-man roster.
I feel bad for Thomas Claiborne's students as he has a bad day at practice, I'll tell you that much.
Here's another deuce attempt. This one is good. The second straight deuce for Henry Nell. Wow, he is a weapon for Maine.
Here is Nell. He's going to try the drop kick. It is on the way, and this one is good. That is the first drop kick I have seen in Arena Bowl.
There hasn't been one, I think, in 11 years in all arena leagues.
After the game, I just once again, I sat down by myself. I looked back on this journey. I was like, all the things I had to go through, the injuries, all the people that told me no, the leap of faith, leaving family, the sacrifices, it all led up to this one moment. And that moment was starting my professional football career. No experience, never watched a football game, never practiced with pads and helmets. And then age 19, being the youngest professional football player in Arena League at that stage, it was something that words cannot describe how it felt. It's something I would never forget as well. It was a really great experience, great moment, And in 2018, funny story, this is where my wife, she came and played a big role in my life as well. In 2018, we met through the team in Maine. She was my physical therapist when I went in for an injury. We kind of started talking, and 2019, we started dating. And then tracking forward, during the pandemic, we got married as well. In 2019, she played a real big role in supporting me as well. Me being in the States, no family, no friends, basically homeless and broke. If it wasn't for her, I would have probably starved to death. So she really stepped up to the plate and decided, you know what, I love you, whether you have nothing or whether you have everything, and I'm going to be with you throughout this whole process and this dream that you have, So I got to give her a shout out. So, and this, it always comes back to it's destiny. I believe in this is my destiny. This is what God wants me to do. And if you look back over the years, what I had to go through, and then the people I've met along the way, it's all just people that He sent on my path. It's from sacrificing family to having a brand new family in the States. My wife, her family is my family now. From having no friends to having roommates from all over the world, all over the States, which I can call up at any day and we can get together. Meeting other South Africans like yourself, having one of my best friends, Paul, in North Carolina. If I ever have an issue, I can always just drive to him. How this whole thing turned within 3 years from having nothing to basically a living, healthy relationship situation. It's amazing that if you believe and you trust and you work really hard on yourself and you always give thanks to the people that helped you along the way, that little bit of gratitude and just saying thanks all the time and appreciating what you have, it goes such a long way.
Snap down, kick is up on the way, and it is good. So the Blizzard Ayers back to receive for Massachusetts. This one high and away. It'll be fielded in the end zone. Triggs is the holder. Snap down, kick is up, and it is good. So is 1 minute here into the second quarter. Nell will send this one high. It'll be the holder. Snap is down, kick is up on its way. Henry Nell is remaining in the first half. The Massachusetts Pirates still have the lead, but the Blizzard cut into it 14-13. Former Missouri Tiger. This one in the air, and that one, it's going to be a deuce. The Pirates, they're going to put them at the 2.5-yard line. Still 26. Snap down, kick is up and on its way. It is good. So the Blizzard go into the half with a 6-point lead, 20-14 over the Massachusetts Pirates. Massachusetts. And it is going to be an onside kick up in the air. Who will it be? Is it Blizzard football? I think it's Blizzard football. The Blizzard have 36-34. Only a 2-point deficit. And the Blizzard have the football at the 14-yard line.
So I played in Green Bay for a few weeks, and then the CFL Global Draft came along. Another brand new system that got into place this season. That once again, if you don't believe in destiny, then I don't know what it is. But starting football all the way ended up, the CFL finally announced a global draft. So what this draft is, it's for players outside of Canada and outside of the United States. And how funny is it that this whole destiny journey of mine turned out 3 years in, now there's a global draft as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't have really high hopes for this, just to be like, whatever happens will happen. If it's not my plan, if God wants me to be there, he will put me there. So the second round went by and I was like, you know what? I'm at practice right now. I'm not even going to look at my phone no more. I'm just going to let it be. So I went with my business throughout that day. And all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls. My wife's calling me, her family is calling me. I got friends calling me. And I'm picking up. I'm like, yo, is everything all right? Are you guys fine? Why everybody calling me? They're like, and she's like, you got drafted. I'm like, what? So I went onto my phone, and third round, overall 23rd pick, Saskatchewan Roughriders got selected in the draft. I was probably sitting on the porch crying for like a good 20 minutes. The team called me, the head coach, Coach Greg Dickinson, he called me. I couldn't even talk to the man because I was like I was so emotional in that stage that I couldn't talk to nobody. And it was a really great thing that happened in my life. One of my greatest and most humbling moments, knowing that everything you worked for led up to that specific phone call.
I only met you briefly once at a wedding, but I've been following you, and we will keep following you and, praying for you, hoping the best for you. But, the story is it encouraged me, and I hope it encouraged anybody who watches this. I mean, just everything you mentioned, there's so much that ties into our faith from, even the preparation from 5 years old, the bigger picture, just working hard and what's in front of you, and then the opportunities that come, working through the disappointments, doesn't seem like things are going to work out, this dream, this destiny, but even in having that dream, it still took a lot of hard work, and it took a lot of tenacity through the difficult times. So all the best with the season there in Canada, and we'll be cheering you on.
I appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much. For all the kids out there as well, never give up on your dream, work hard, and then, patience pays off. So never quit.